All right, here we go. Welcome to episode number 22 of the Soul Rollers Jiu-Jitsu podcast, where we discuss Jiu-Jitsu life and self-mastery. My name is Jackson Gage. I'm here with my co-host, William Dennis, over in Fresno or Clovis or somewhere over there. And I'm here in San Diego, and we're just recording another week of our Jiu-Jitsu podcast here. We took a week. I think we took a week off. We took last week off. William was in Colorado on like a family trip. So, you have to give a quick Colorado review in a little bit or tell us where you went. I still haven't been there, but I've heard good things about that state. And yeah, man, I also took a week off. When you took the week off, it wasn't planned to be simultaneous like that, but I just all of my aches and pains, man, were starting to pile up to where I was getting to class like, fuck, I'm not resting enough, man. So I just took a week and let my body heal, because you start getting, you're like, fuck, okay, you got wrist, back, knees, neck, ankle, fingers, all fucking with you at the same time. Then you're like, hips. Okay, let's fucking rest and stretch for a week. Get in the sauna, no weights, no jiu-jitsu. And that was nice. So I'm feeling better now. It was a good rest. And getting back, just my second time training in the past 2 weeks. So feeling good. And yeah, man, just kind of see how it goes. So how you doing there, William P. Dennis Turner Smiles?
Good, man. Colorado was great. It's beautiful there. We went to Woodland Park. It was where it's called. It's kind of by Colorado Springs. It's like a hour or so, a couple hours away from Denver.
Okay.
So, but we drove up there, man, talk about beautiful, man. I think I sent you a polo or when I was up there. It's just in the woods. There's nothing like deer were just laying around our house. Like deer are pets up there. They just like hang out in your yard and eat your grass and they just walk around like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it was fun. Take the kids up there to get them to be in nature and we went to like this cool cave. We went through there. We went through like a gorge, like the Royal Gorge or whatever. It's like deeper than the Grand Canyon, I guess. Not as wide, but deeper. And we took a train ride on that. It was cool. There's this really cool suspension bridge across it. It was nuts how far down it was and stuff. Fun trip. It was a fun trip, but it was weird being away from jiu-jitsu and just not training or anything,
Yeah. That's actually, we talked about that earlier, and I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but when you're living the more disciplined you get with life and then you take a break, at least for me, it throws you off, man. When you're eating good, you're lifting, you're going to jiu-jitsu, everything's going pop, 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 pop. You're focused. And then you go, like I went a few months ago and I went to visit my mom in Fresno and I stayed there for a week, and you show up and she's like, I made you brownies and there's fucking caramel mixed in with them, and then I'm going to give you 3 meals a day. There's going to be snacks and it's all going to be homemade Italian food and shit, and you're not training, you're not running, you're not doing shit. And then you get back and it's not as easy to get back into that groove, man. So I guess that's just a discipline thing. I don't know, man,
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. It's like how often we seek comfort in all of our things, It's like with jiu-jitsu, I got smashed so hard today. Coach was showing us this move and we were drilling it and I'm like, dang, this is what he's been getting me with for like 2 years. Now it actually makes sense now that he's showing it to us. And I'm like, man, I just didn't understand what he was doing when I was going through it the last 2 years. And now when he showed us that, I'm like, oh, well, now it makes sense. And but I'm like, okay, my goal is to try to not let you get the move of the day. Like I stupidly said that before him and I rolled.
You said that?
Yeah. I was like, if I could only just stop the move of the day, I'm going to be happy. Sure enough, he just smashed me for the entire time.
Well, that what you said, it just translates to a fucking straight challenge.
Yeah, he met the challenge and it exceeded it. So well on him, I guess.
Good job, Victor.
Yeah, he did a great job. It was like the worst knee on belly I've ever had in my entire jiu-jitsu experience. It was like a vertical, like straight down knee to the belly button. It was like the most perfect form or whatever. I'm like, what are you, a freaking gymnast now? Like, and
Dude,
all I could do is be like, oh, this is the worst knee on belly ever.
you're
I
like,
couldn't even fight out of it because it was so bad. I was like, oh,
you're just trying to
so,
keep your abs tight and shit, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Mhm.
survived, but God, barely. And it was just like, I'm like, wow, it's like perfect form. It's like the worst knee on belly ever, for me at least.
Yeah. Those will
But
fuck you up too, man. Like neon belly will like if you get a good one, man. I've had it where you don't realize it at the moment, it hurts, but then the next like fucking week, you have like internal organ injuries and shit. Like fucking kidneys won't work.
in blood, no big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, coach. It was great. He did a great job. He just smushed me so hard because it was really like showing how important, putting your weight on your opponent is and really like making it difficult for him to do this, that, and the other, and it works. Yeah. I got the whole, experience. So I understand exactly why he's teaching us the way he is. It's like, oh, yep, you're right. I get it. So it was a good experience. It was a good butt kicking.
Good, man. That's good. You made a good point on that topic a little while ago, when we were talking about what were you saying? You were saying like when you leave and you get off of your routine, you kind of you got to ask yourself like, why am I running in the first place? Why am I working out in the first place?
Yeah.
What were you saying about that?
Well, it's like it's about lifestyle, right? Like we always talk about. I mean, anyone can do a 30-day diet. Like what's the point of that? If it's not something you're going to do for the rest of your life, don't bother. Really, is the way I see it. Because if it's not lifestyle, it's not going to create change, lasting change. That is, it may like. Someone can work out real hard for a New Year's resolution, do it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months even, and then stop, and then they could go back. So it's like, what's the lifestyle? So, what I was saying, comparing it to jujitsu is like, it's not like I could go to jujitsu and be like, hey, is there any way I can just get like comfortable rolls? Like, I don't want to roll. Like, I don't want to get tired. Can I just roll with people that it doesn't work that way? It doesn't even make sense. Like, well, why don't you just not do it then? Like, what are you talking about? And so it's the same thing with like, oh, well, I need really tasty food. I need really like tasty snacks. I need, like we have all these preferences, and it depends on, like if you want to be someone that does jujitsu for a long term, you got to change your preferences, or get rid of a lot of them, because if you say you want jujitsu, you got to not want other things. And it's the same thing with dieting. It's the same with health and relationships. And there's all these things that you say you want, but does that match up with your preferences? And a lot of times, our preferences get exposed through difficulty and hardship and challenge and sacrifice, and that helps us see that maybe I didn't need those preferences to begin with. Like, do I really have to have like caramel infused brownies, in my life to be happy?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And also though, like there's this thing like if you have, I'm sure it's a lot of moms, but like I know my mom is an Italian lady, and like if she makes you something, you can't say no. You know what I mean? She'll act like you broke her heart and shit. And she'll talk about it the rest of the next couple days or whatever. You didn't like the brownies I made for you. The guilt trip and shit. So I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
it, I'll eat these brownies, the whole fucking dish of them. And also you got the people also who you see this shit. I don't know if you noticed, but you see this shit a lot. Like someone will start working out. You see them on Instagram, like a friend of yours. You're like, oh shit, they're eating a salad. Oh, they're posting it up. Or you see them in the gym putting in work, and then like within a week, it's like beer and nachos and shit, on their Instagram, because it's hard to be disciplined, man. It's hard to be disciplined in every aspect. But discipline is the key. Like Jocko Willink says, man, discipline equals freedom, man. So and I every day we even talk about it. Fuck, I got to get more disciplined. I got to get more. Let's get more disciplined. What time you getting up? Okay, how many days you working out? How many days you training? What are you eating? What are you drinking? Let's turn it up. What are you reading? And that's the path, man.
Well, and it's really hard to find other people that are that mindset, and I was just thinking about that today. I got on Instagram after I got home and cleaned up after jiu-jitsu, and all the jiu-jitsu people I followed were posting like a workout they were doing. They were posting being at the academy training. They're something like positive or mindset focused, like they're pushing themselves, and I'm like, dang, like it's such a good community. They really take you to another level, not because they're like asking you to do it. They're just offering the opportunity. It's just like, they're just examples of, hey, I want more for my jiu-jitsu, and it just seems to push you as well. And like we always talk about is it's just a variable that plays into other areas of your life. You just happen to get healthier. You happen to be, focused on things that matter more, and you're reading or learning, or you're asking different questions because of jiu-jitsu. It's, there's other variables that by going for, they complement each other, complementing variables, it's like, okay, it's not that I'm so healthy because I do jiu-jitsu, but they're complementary, like variables that play in, complement each other. They feed off of each other somewhat, they benefit each other. Yeah. And it's not that you have to have both or else. It's like, no, there's some people that aren't very healthy, they don't look very healthy, at least, and they still do jiu-jitsu. We all find different reasons to be in there, but it can help. It can benefit multiple areas of your life for sure. Yeah. I think that's something special. And I think just the community is another benefit. You have better people in your life that are focused on better, higher vibration kind of, stuff, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Before I forget, speaking of reading, what was the name of that book you had mentioned to me yesterday? I still haven't ordered it, but I'm going to order it today.
Way of the Superior Man.
Ah, yes, that's what. Yeah. How was that book, man?
It's intense. Awesome. It's good, man. Yeah, really good one. Even women should read that, to kind of really get a bird's eye view of kind of like, men and what their focus should be or can be,
Yeah. I feel like that sounds like something that someone who's doing jiu-jitsu could benefit from us. You know what I mean? Especially someone listening to the podcast. If you like personal development and you train jiu-jitsu, that sounds like I'm going to buy that book. So
yeah, Way of the Superior Man. I've read it multiple times. I love that book. It's hard to live in, like you're saying, discipline, right? They're common sense, but not common practice. I've said that before. And the whole point of this stuff, the whole point of living into a goal or a desire, like, hey, I want a black belt, or I want, to create a business. I want to have a podcast. I want to have yada, 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 whatever goal. It's to call you to evolve, right? It's to give you a different perspective of what's possible, become a better version of yourself. And if you don't know what's possible, how can you grow towards a different ideal? When you know better, you do better. So know better by seeking, different perspectives, different answers, different possibilities, right? And books provide you that.
Yeah.
So same thing with jiu-jitsu. I was talking to, I think his name is Jeff, and then Nate was there, and we were rolling today, and it's just like, man, I had him in mount and was just destroy, just working it, like really giving it to him, not taking it easy on him. And I told him, it's like, I respect you, man. I want you to do better. If I take it easy on you and I don't even give you resistance, you're not going to learn.
Yeah.
And it's a respect thing. And I think, like we're talking about, discipline is honoring yourself. Personal development is honoring yourself. How are we honoring ourselves every day? Working out, exercising, pushing ourselves in jiu-jitsu, all this is honoring ourselves. And then in so doing, there's a benefit to others around us. Doing this podcast, it's honoring to ourselves. It allows us to like express ourselves, right? That's been big lately for me, trying to figure that stuff out and opening up to, it feels weird to express yourself, man. It's so like, we are so stuck in a survival mindset in a society that is built for comfort and ease and hiding and just not really living your true self, because it's like capitalism is kind of, awesome, and it's a double-edged sword. It provides all these comforts and safeties that your environment no longer asks you to grow and become better. Your environment says, hey, give me money and I'll make it as soft and easy and gentle as possible.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, that's awesome. Not awesome.
Yeah, that's speaking of that, I don't know if you got a chance to watch that video. And Russell Brand, he has a podcast, that English actor, comedian dude, but he's like a conscious type dude. Yeah, but he had a guy on the other day, super intelligent guy. Like I couldn't he was speaking English and I still can't translate what the fuck he was. Even Russell Brand, who's a genius, was like telling the guy how smart he is. But what he was talking about was with capitalism, it just keeps going, it keeps digging. And there's no end to it. So now they're raping us. What they're doing is they're mining humans of capitalism has got to the point where they're mining humans of our attention, like of our attention span, and it's turning people into like, it's turning people basically into zombies and shit, with no attention span. And it's all in the name of money and time and attention. And that's a dope episode. I don't know what the fuck the guy's name was, but Russell Brand just posted it yesterday on his timeline. Very interesting, man. So
yeah, I mean, I think there was a Netflix show on that, like Social Experiment or something. I don't know what it was called, but we watched it. I had my daughter watch it because it's sickening, like just how distracting and how like scientists are developing ways to trick people into focusing on this stuff. You're almost like falling prey to something you can't even comprehend.
Yeah, it's way beyond our thoughts. And then there was something else I was thinking of while you were talking there. Oh, that Alan Watts video where he was saying that it kind of just goes in with what you were saying, how he was saying how from the time you're, before you start kindergarten, everybody pumps you up about kindergarten. You're starting school, you're going to start school and you're going to be a kindergartner, and then, oh, you're graduating kindergarten. Now you're going to go and do your lower grades, and then it goes to the upper grades and now middle school. Okay, now you're working toward this big thing, high school. You're going to be done with that, and then everybody's pressuring you after that. Now, okay, now your next big goal is college. Do that. Okay, now your next big goal is become an employee, and he was saying that we spend our whole lives working toward a moment that never exists, and then you get like 40, 45 and you look around and you're like, holy shit, man, I've been led here to this place. And I think we've talked about this before, but that was a really, really powerful video. And it's, especially if you're raising kids, man, it's super important that you don't push them into that fucking society's path of just going toward these goals and telling them they're going to be happy when this, you'll be successful when you get here. Now, when you get here, now you got to do this, instead of, because happiness never comes on that path. You're always striving for something instead of learning how to be happy now with your life and grateful, so it's just something to think about, even in your own life. What are you striving for? Are you happy right now, or are you waiting until something happens? When I retire, that's a big one, man. That's a big one. I saw a guy post the other day. He did his first 10 years at like Costco or something. And he's like, only got 30 more years, and he was excited about it. I'm like, motherfucker, that's like, man, holy shit. 30 more, only got 30 more years till what? Till you can enjoy your life, till you can do the shit you want to do. You better do that shit now, because tomorrow might not come. Make a list of the shit you want to do and do it now. You know what I mean? Or else you're going to live the life of an indentured servant doing shit you don't want to do until you're 65 and then you die. So,
well, that's the stuff you and I talk about a lot. Like, and we mention it to each other. And remember, I was telling you yesterday when we were talking, I'm like, dude, I'm scared at times. Like, holy crap, living your dreams is scary. Like, okay, I want to go create this. It's like, my brain instantly goes, nope, not safe. Nope, that's scary. Nope, let's get back to, this survival mindset is set to remove suffering and pain, and it blocks it by doubt, insecurity, fear. And that takes you back to going, oh, I'm not safe. I got to go get back to stability, certainty, which is a monthly paycheck or whatever it might be for different people. There's legitimate reasons why people live that lifestyle and think that retiring in 40 years is great. Like, it's not to be judged or ridiculed. It's understandable. That's the society that we set up. But what we're saying is like, question everything, question everything yourself. That's what I've done on this journey. I've questioned literally everything, almost too much. Like, oh, geez, do you not believe anything I tell you? What are you doing here? But just be curious. You don't have to be a jerk about it. Like, oh, you're full of shit. Like, go question. Like, okay, where'd you find that? I want to read about that. Learn, grow. Like, figure out who you are. That's the whole point of this journey, because you can succeed at something that means nothing to you, and you can get to the end of it and go, crap. Well, you succeeded according to society standards, but you're not happy. That's because, for one, even happiness, like, you're not always supposed to be happy. I don't think that. I don't think like every moment of every day, you're just going to be happy and yay. Shit happens that is sad, and you should probably be sad unless you're a sociopath. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. I'm telling you, I wasn't very happy. And when coach had knee on belly, I mean, I wasn't happy. I didn't think like, this is so fun. Like, I'm like, ow, this is terrible. Like,
but
I'm not.
You can put it this way. You went through that unhappiness doing something you really fucking enjoy. It's a lot different than going through unhappiness when instead of Victor with your knee in your belly, it's some boss who to treat you like shit. You know what I mean? And you're doing something you hate and getting treated like shit. That's, you can, like you said, you're going to go through ups and downs either way, but why not go through ups and downs doing some shit that you fucking love? You're going to fucking die, man. You know what I mean? We've been again, like you said, it's not here to ridicule anybody who's living that life or living a life they don't want to live and stuck in a 9-to-5 job doing something that society, because like I said, man, you've been led by a society that's told you since you were young that that's what you're supposed to do, but it's not in your best interest. It's in the best interest of the people fucking making money off of your energy, man. So that's what liberation and freedom is about, and I think we all have to, anyone can find freedom,
Yeah. And I think, and jiu-jitsu is the perfect analogy for that. It's like, along this journey of liberation of your mind, your soul, your body, you're going to face hardship. You're going to struggle. You're going to, tap. You're going to fail. You're going to just continue to fail repeatedly. But that's where you find this ability to grow. That's where you find, even if it points out a weakness that you are weak in, like, hey, you suck at this. You should see that. You should know that that's there. You should learn from that experience. A lot of times it's like with PTSD for me, it revealed so much of what I wasn't doing with my life. Like, if you look at your life, you see those wheels, that wheel of life, like career, relationships, finances, all those things that make it a wheel. If you don't take care of certain areas of your life, it doesn't roll, right? It's not a circle. So it's not going to be smooth ride. And I think that's what jiu-jitsu, it's like, you can't just work on certain aspects of it. You have to be the complete martial artist. You have to study and learn and grow. And today I experienced that, where it was like a totally different move that we were working on and passing and doing this. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can get into close guard like this from that totally different move that isn't about close guard. And I'm like, okay, I see how all this comes together. It's the same thing with life. Like, the struggles you face in life are helping you see maybe where there's an area that you have a strength in that you've neglected, or there's an area where you have, weakness in that you just haven't built skill sets in, like feeling your emotions, working through your emotions, feeling afraid. Like, it's terrifying to go for your dreams. But what's also like worse is suffering for something you don't give a shit about, right? Like, pick your poison, right?
I mean, what's even more terrifying is being fucking 90 years old and looking back at your life and like, damn, I was too scared to go after the things I wanted to go after. That's the fucking real scary part, man. Sitting there like, God damn it. I pleased everyone around me, but I didn't please myself. Well, time to die. You know what I mean? Imagine that shit. Fuck that shit. There's no way, and it's just a matter of discipline and walking your own path, man. And that's why we're creating this podcast, and anything else we create is just to because we're doing it ourselves, man. Like, we're doing it, and then we're showing, you know, not to, I'm just like, this is an example of people doing things outside of the box, man, you know, like this is what we're overcoming our fears by creating a podcast, putting it out, you know, making a coaching business, making another podcast, whatever it is. And that's so that when we're 90, we can look back and say, well, I did that shit. I did it. You know, I did the things I wanted to. I was a free man, you know, because if not, why are you here, man? To buy some material shit and die, you know, eat some food, shit, take a shit, you know, eat some more food, produce some children, take another shit, you know, consume and die. That's not what we're here for. We're not cattle. You know, we're great. We're fucking powerful creators. You know, and as soon as humans start remembering that, which I think is happening now, you know, that's when the world starts changing for the better.
Yeah, that's the key that jiu-jitsu teaches us, is like, choose your struggle. Don't let it be forced upon you.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah. And look at the things that we used to struggle with before we ever started jiu-jitsu that are different now because we've done jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Self-confidence, like self-belief. So like, you know, just self-awareness is totally different, you know, and even that competition really exposed me to just how severely I doubt myself. You know, and what's funny is the world becomes your mirror, right? Like anytime you try to create a business or you go to jiu-jitsu or whatever, like the thing you don't want to be exposed becomes exposed, right? Because life's the perfect mirror. People, circumstances, whatever it is, it just reveals yourself back to yourself. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I can avoid this. I can deny this. I can delay it. But eventually I'm going to have to face this, or, you know, become one of those, you know, zombies that just kind of mope through life, because understandably they don't have the skill sets and haven't developed the skill sets to do anything about it. It's just like if you've never trained jiu-jitsu and you come in your first day, you're going to have a handful with one, you know, blue belt. It's just going to, they have such a high knowledge base compared to what you have to offer skill set wise. And that's okay. That's what I was telling the white belts today. Like, hey, dude, I'm telling you, watch me go roll with coach and you'll be like, oh, just kind of a little different. Like he's getting his butt kicked. He was, but now he's getting his butt kicked. You know, it's skill sets, knowledge, growth.
Yeah. It's the same shit. Yeah. And that's also, I think the very first step in liberating yourself is to get really disciplined and focus on your health and your fitness. And that's jiu-jitsu brings that about as well, because of, you know, when it just does so many things for you. You can't expect to, you know, excel in other places if you're fucking putting garbage in your body and you're tired all the time and you're not feeling good and you're fighting off disease. You know, how can you be happy enough to go after and confident enough to go after the things you want to go after, man? So I really think, you know, the discipline of eating well, drinking lots of water, staying active, doing something difficult physically every day, that's the baseline for living a life of happiness and freedom, man. And jiu-jitsu offers that to you, you know? So
yeah, it comes in a complete package, ready-made package for you. And that's one thing we were talking about, I mentioned earlier, was, you know, full circle, like, you know, you roll and roll. I've been rolling, you know, since I started. And like things just don't make sense. They're just not clear. You're trying to learn as you go, and progress is being made without you really being aware of it. And one thing I was talking to you about, I mentioned to my wife, I was like, man, like even when you make progress in your marriage or your communication skills, you make progress in jiu-jitsu. It's not like there's like, you know, celebrations happening as each step you make progress. It's almost, it goes unseen. You're unaware that you've been making progress. You don't even realize that you have some skills that you didn't have before because you're so preoccupied with some other focus. I don't know, but it's, you know, those things go together. When we drilled today, the move he taught us was something that he's gotten on me 1,000 times, I swear. And I'm like, when I was rolling with him, I had no clue what he was doing. I'm like, he goes this way, so I go that way, and then he's over here side control. Like, how's this even possible? Why? How is he doing this to me? And I just felt like this doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way. He has too many arms. There's something wrong here. And then today he showed it to us and I'm like, my brain goes, wait a minute. That's what's been happening to you for the last 2 years. And I'm like, oh, that's what he's been doing. And I told coach that. He just started laughing. He's like, don't worry, I got plenty more secrets. I'm like, oh, I'm sure you do. And I just started laughing because I'm like, dang, like I've been making progress, because you have to make progress to be able to realize, like, wait a minute, that has been happening to me. So that's progress. It doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound like something to celebrate. It's like, you mean it took me a couple of years to get smashed like that to realize this? Who can do that? So they're like, you know what? I'll just go to work. I got a paycheck coming in. Who cares? I don't need to do that personal growth, progress bullshit. Feels like shit. Get knee on your belly. It's like, I get it, but it's like what you're saying is you got so much hidden potential inside you, and you just got to call that to life. You have a destiny. Your desires create your destiny. They are your destiny, and they lead you to it. And I just, I really believe that. I believe that inside of us, on the other side of the veil of fear, is our destiny. And that purpose, that meaning, it's like, how often do people really search for the meaning of life, right? It's like, no. They're just trying to live a little bit. They're trying to get some moments of living. Like, what does that feel like? And to me, it's when you lose sight of your focus on all the bullshit, right? Like you focus, like when we do this podcast, my wife told me the other day when she saw, a video of me, or she listened to it, and she was like, man, you sound so happy. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. Do shit that makes you happy. Like when I'm getting smashed by my coach, I'm actually like having fun. I'm not thinking about bills and bullshit. I'm like, wow, that was amazing. That was fun. You lose that sense of self, that focus on, that selfish, whiny bitch inside your head, oh, fuck, man, what the hell? Like my wife's mean to me or whatever. Like, lose the focus. Like how many different exercises in your life create like a loss of like bullshit?
Yeah.
Those reveal you to yourself. They like create an experience of life that is meaningful, whether it's struggle or not. And usually it just happens to be struggle. It's just voluntary. Like being married to me is a voluntary struggle I go through that exposes me to my own wounds and issues, and exposes me to my wife's wounds and issues from her past, right? We're both traumatized humans trying to create a life together. Good fucking luck. It's just like a headache, right? Just like jiu-jitsu is a headache.
Yep.
It's a puzzle to be solved. And you got to find, a friendship could be a fucking puzzle. How often has our friendship been kind of like, pushed each other's buttons and made us grow and forced us to kind of face something that we didn't want to face?
Yeah.
But do it with people that are worth it. Do it for circumstances that are worth it. Like, does it help you grow? Does it help you become better? And I truly believe that jiu-jitsu has that all in one. It's that one size fits all, receptacle or journey or whatever you want to call it, that can really help you become a better. It'll make you ask questions of yourself that you've never asked before. That's the whole point of that huge rant, I guess.
Yeah, man. No, that's true, man. And something else that, because you were talking about how finding the things that, well, basically that make you feel better during the day, and not down and angry and depressed and upset and shit, and trying to figure out what's wrong with life, and looking for your destiny and your purpose and why the fuck am I here and that type of shit. A good way to feel better as well, that's not on the struggle side of things, is finding the things that you're really passionate about, and then putting time into creating that shit, creation, and whatever your art is, with that, whatever it may be, creating and then sharing it, with the world. I posted a video the other day of Will Smith, and he was saying, he was like, I've been to the top of the fucking material mountain. I have it all. I have everything that I've ever wanted. It doesn't make you happy. I can tell you right now, it doesn't make you happy. The only thing that's ever going to satisfy that craving that you have for happiness is to be useful to others, So anybody, any motherfucker listening to this you can look in the mirror right now and say, how useful am I to the people around me? What am I doing to serve my friends, my community? How am I shining a light? What am I doing? because people get so stuck inside themselves and worried about their own life. And then that's where you start getting depressed and trying to figure shit out, you know. But sometimes you come out of yourself and you look at the world around you and you look at the things you love, and you create and you share and you give and you try to lift the people up around you. And by doing that, it'll lighten your life. It'll bring light into your world, you know. So that's just a little tool that I've learned, battling through depression and things like that. Like, you know, stop being selfish, motherfucker. Start giving, whatever it is, whatever your art may be, man, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever you like doing. Everybody likes doing something. There's motherfuckers who play video games and share that. That's their art, you know, but whatever it may be.
Yeah. It's like what I was telling the guy that I was rolling with today, because he kept, he was framing so hard with his arms that all I had to do is windshield wiper my leg over and be in mount. Right. And it was a hole. It's just a mistake. Right. And I told him, what you're trying to do, you're making 1,000 mistakes right now. And so what you're trying to go is from 1,000 to 999 mistakes. And then from 999 to 998. That's all you're trying to do. You're surviving and learning to eliminate a few mistakes along the way each day. And if you do that, you're going to be wonderful. You're going to be doing really well in jiu-jitsu. It's the same thing in life. It's like, okay, what am I doing that's really working against me? Well, jiu-jitsu will teach you that. It's like, hey, it's okay to be where you're at. It's okay to accept where you're at. It's okay to see yourself as not where you want to be, not from a place of judgment, but just from a place of awareness. Right. And that's what's powerful about jiu-jitsu. It opens you up to it opened me up to, like I said, I'm severely struggled with self-doubt my whole life because I wasn't encouraged. I wasn't told that I was capable of certain things. Shows up in my marriage, shows up in my parenting. I see my stepson struggle with things like with his frustration. He was playing a video game. He's getting real frustrated, but in jiu-jitsu, he doesn't get frustrated. I think it's the environment, it's the coach, I don't know, but he was getting frustrated over a video game. And I'm like, So I sat with him and I was talking to him and we were working it out. And it was, I saw him struggle with, getting angry and stuff like that, knowing how to deal with his anger. As men, we're not taught that, right? The way of the superior man. That's what that book is about. It's like, you don't need to try to be a good man. You need to be good at being a man, right? Creating these ideals of perfection, right? That's what self-mastery is all about, is there's no finish line, like just a continuous growth. Yep. And I think jiu-jitsu provides that structure, that framework, and trying to build that in other aspects of your life around that will, like we were talking about, right? I believe that you can take the structure and the belt system and everything like we talked about, and you can structure that in a way that benefits other areas of your life. And that's what we want to expose as we're learning jiu-jitsu, because it's just not just a physical practice. It also touches your soul, changes you as a person, the way you see endurance, the way you see struggle, the way you see humility, it all changes, right?
The way you
it changes your body. You can't go into jiu-jitsu and not be changed physically, mentally, and on a soul level. It's just not gonna, mind, body, soul, right? It's like, it's just not gonna touch all three of those areas. It's too great to. And I think that's the structure that we need to have that in our friendships, right? Our friendship isn't just about, talking about, personal development only. I'm asking you about your health, your physical health, your mental health, right? How do we show up and provide value in that way in all of our relationships, in all of our, settings? Maybe it's at work. Maybe you need to be at work right now, and that's okay. But how are you showing up there? What are you doing? Are you honoring yourself? Are you honoring others? Are you serving others? Are you contributing? All that stuff is built into jiu-jitsu, I swear. There's no way you can't serve someone. I was rolling with a couple of the white belts today, and I did everything I could to give them resistance and make them struggle and see difficulty. Even with you, there's times when you talk about jiu-jitsu and just, it's hard, and it sounds aggressive. And I'm like, man, maybe I need to tamp that down so people don't get scared. But the truth is, it is difficult. It is a struggle. You are going to get your face smashed here and there. It's going to happen, and it's like what you're saying with parents. They try to, your mom tries to feed you brownies and if we know that society standards doesn't lead you to happiness, why do people push their kids towards that? Because they want their kids to experience safety and and they want to protect them. And that's the problem. It's like our own insecurities are projected onto our children and other people in our lives. And we've got to be careful of that. And I think jujitsu helps with that. It exposes your own weaknesses so that you can be compassionate to yourself and improve them. And then if you know that about yourself, you're not going to try to do that to your kids. Like, oh, you're struggling. Cool. So did I. Work through it. You got this. You're not going to sit there and go, oh, poor baby, let me fix it for you. Fuck that. You're capable. Get your ass up, get to work. I struggle too.
That's a good point that you make right there, is that the majority of parents will follow that path I spoke of earlier and get to a place where they're, you know, they've never chased after the things they wanted to, or never become the person that they had imagined when they were younger. And they live in this life of like Henry David Thoreau says, most men live quiet lives of desperation. That's true, man. You know, these people living lives of quiet desperation. They live in a life there's another life they have in their mind they wish they were living. And then they fucking take that, even though they know it's not the route that they're not happy. They teach their kids to follow the same route they did, man. You see it all the time. I see people doing it to my kids. I see people around my kids, you know, and everybody, most people in our society do it. You know, oh, what are you gonna be when you grow up? You know, what are you gonna be? You know, implying that they're not what they should be at this moment. You know, when you tell a kid, what are you gonna be when you grow up? And their mind goes to, wait a minute, I'm not enough right now. What do you mean? I gotta be something else? Then you take them out of the moment and they start living for the fucking future. And then they continue doing that their whole life, man. And that's just a really good point, man. I guess it's just a cycle of, you know, people living quiet lives of quiet desperation, and they're leading their children into the same place, and it just keeps going. And then they lead their children into that place. You know, at some point you have to break it. You got to show your kids there's something else possible besides that life that society's given us, you know?
Yeah, and be going and challenging yourself in jujitsu. Like,
yeah,
literally.
That's what I was getting to. Like, jujitsu will, and again, this podcast is self-mastery too. So we might not talk about jujitsu the whole fucking episode, you know, but I can bring it back. I know William likes to bring everything to jujitsu, so I'll bring this to jujitsu.
Tell my wife.
That's one of the benefits of going into jujitsu, because it shows you how to traverse a different path. You know, the path of being okay with struggle, okay with failure, okay with, you know, it turns you humble, you know, and humility also teaches you gratitude. You know, when I get humbled, I'm also grateful. I've learned to be grateful for that experience, because that's where the learning of life happens. And, you know, I really think fucking jiu-jitsu should be something that is taught, like in some European countries, like kids are required, instead of PE, they're required to learn judo. You know what I mean? That's dope. They're fucking learning grappling and throws from the time they're like, you know, first, second grade. And in America or anywhere, you know, I think jiu-jitsu in schools would be awesome, man, because we're teaching kids a different way, but that doesn't benefit the system that we have here. So, you know.
Yeah, I think, you know, like, it's like what we talked about a lot of times when we're trying to decide on our game, like, oh, you're going to do close guard. Oh, you're going to do half guard. And then that requires you to start asking questions like, well, man, I got to learn everything else though, too. Like, oh no, what if it's, you know, but it puts you on a path of like, this is where I'm starting. Like there's a starting line finally. Right. You know, like we talked about starting your dreams, how scary it is. Like you have to start small. Like you got to start small. Well, I'm just going to keep showing up. That's all I can do right now. I'm just surviving. I can barely figure out what the hell's going on. I'm just getting smashed all the time. I'm just going to survive. Okay. And then it starts going, well, half guard's kind of working for me. And then you know, you keep building like that. Same thing for life. You know, maybe you're not where you want to be, but start small, start somewhere, just start. You know, we're the common denominators to and we're the common contributors to everything that's present in our lives. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. You know, it's very rare you roll with a guy and he doesn't make progress. Maybe you're making progress faster than some other people because they just can't train as much as you can or something like that. But it's very rare that the guy just comes in, never grows, never gets better. I don't know if you've seen that. I haven't. everyone that's consistently came and continued to show up has gotten better and learned and improved.
Yeah.
That's universal in jiu-jitsu. I truly believe that. And it teaches you that no matter what, no matter how much you're struggling in life, if you start somewhere and you start developing skills, you will get further. Like you will grow, you will get somewhere, and you will get, maybe it's not this like, you know, wealthy lifestyle of flying in a private jet or something, but like at the end of the day, that's not what makes you happy anyways. It's learning and growing and evolving to a better version of yourself day in, day out, year after year, until there's an end to this journey. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think jiu-jitsu is that path and that format perfectly.
Filling your life with things that you enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
And that just comes with personal
doesn't
growth.
mean, enjoy doesn't mean it feels good all the time. Like sometimes that can suck, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, well, I enjoy jujitsu. I fucking get my ass beat every goddamn time I walk into that motherfucker, but I enjoy it. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as that, yeah, it's just about personal growth. And also there are those guys that come in that, I mean, I see everybody grow, but there's some people that are more resistant to the growth and to the improvement. And that's when you're too attached to the competitive edge of it. You know, there's people that I see come in as white belts, and their progress is slower because they're so fucking focused on winning. They're so focused on rolling. Like there's a wrestler that I roll that's been there same amount as me, got his blue belt when I did, and great freaking dude. But you know, super competitive dude. Really hasn't worked on his guard the whole time. We're blue belts now. He hasn't put much time into his guard. He's a wrestler, top game. You know, 100 fucking 1,000% each roll, strong as a motherfucker. And but you know, it's okay to this is kind of the topic of this whole thing we're talking about. I'm talking jiu-jitsu now, but it's okay to, especially for the white belts listening, it's okay to put yourself in the position you suck at repeatedly. You know, that's always got to be reiterated, you know, because you're not going to get good at it. No, you don't want to fucking be you don't want to be a year down the line and you still can't do shit from the bottom because you're worried about winning every roll. You know what I mean? So.
And same thing for life, you know, apply it. You know, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. You're right. You don't want to do the same job for 50 years. What the like, go to a different job, go do some new shit, go try something new. There's guys that, you know, that are at the academy that, you know, like I was telling you, Bobby, he has like, they call him Bugman. He has his business, Ridex. He's awesome. You know, he loves what he does. He loves his business. He loves his career. Chet, he does electrical stuff. He's in the union here. Wonderful. You know, Booby, he loves freaking, he works at PG&E or something, I think. I don't know. But they love their careers. And so it's not impossible to do a career that you love. You know, it's just what you bring to it. You're the common denominator. You know, find passion in what you do and create more joy and freedom in your life through it. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's all possible.
And everybody's different, you know.
Same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, what are you putting into it? Usually it's what you're putting into it, not what the other, like, well, jiu-jitsu isn't good enough for me. It's not doing this for me. It's like, same thing with going and getting help, like therapy or coaching or anything. It's, you know, you can always blame the other person, but the truth is what are you contributing or not contributing that's not making a difference for you? Right? Like jiu-jitsu's got the platform to mold you into whatever you want to become. It truly does. And it's just like, what are you going to contribute? You're going to go in there with ego. You're going to get a limited amount of growth from that. And that's okay if that's all you're there for. So get your freaking rolls in and go home and, you know, do whatever you want to do. But for me, like in Soul Rollers, I think it's about the journey, right? It's about becoming better. And that doesn't take place with ego and, you know, winning all the time. And life will teach you that. It's like, oh, you want to win? Oh, you're going to tell me what the plan is. Okay. I'm going to kick you right in the teeth. Here you go. You know, it's like chance. You know, we experienced that with our careers. I thought I was set to be a cop the rest of my life. I never dreamed about another job my entire life. Since I was a little tiny boy, all I ever wanted to be was a cop. Nothing ever came out of my mouth different than that. And I did it. accomplished it. And yet I am not a cop anymore.
Yeah.
Weird how life works, right?
Yeah. But you did make that vision a reality.
Mm-hmm. And
awesome.
As we can, like the thing, remember what you were telling me is like most of the people that talk about, oh man, when I was first starting out, I wish I would have dreamed bigger. I wish I would have asked for more because I didn't realize life is wanting to give us what we desire. It's just if we're willing to do the work, right? Like when I wrote about that today, I was telling you, dare to dream, right? Like dream big. Like you tell me one white belt that didn't like sit in class for the first couple of times going, man, I could be a black belt. Like dare to dream that. Just what would that require of you? What are you going to have to change about yourself to become black belt?
Yeah.
Dare to dream.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, I think there's people who don't. Like I've had a guy ask me, he's all, you ever think about like taking this all the way, getting your black belt, And I'm like, the fuck you think I'm here, man? I mean, like that's what we're doing here, motherfucker. We're trying to, be the best version of ourselves, but anything is possible, man. Anything is freaking possible. And just the example of that, and this is random, but not a lot of people might listen to this type of stuff, but the example that I was telling you about was this dude who has this podcast I was listening to, and he was interviewing this other entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur that he was interviewing now has like $100 million supplement company, started from zero, was suicidal and all this shit and depressed, and he built this $100 million company. But the guy doing the interviews, he's just doing podcasting, and he's very passionate about it. He struggled with drugs in the past, and now he's talking about, higher consciousness kind of things. And he was telling the millionaire, he was like, dude, they were talking about manifesting, different things into their life. Money was one of the topics. And he was saying, yeah, man, when I started this podcast, I just kept visioning and talking about 20,000 per month. And then before he could finish, the millionaire started laughing. He's like, now you wish you would have asked for more, huh? And he was like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. After I seen how easy it comes to the 20,000 a month, I'm wishing I would have visioned more at that point, And really, the only limitations we have in our life is in our mind. The only limitations to what we can do in our life is in our mind. And anything that you can imagine, you can accomplish it. Anything that you can see, you can bring into light, And I truly, truly believe that and live by that. And I so anyhow, that's a topic. Some people hear manifestation and shit like that, and these things, and they think it's like some weird, crazy hippie shit or something, but it's not. It's reality. It's reality.
Well, manifest a black belt, and it's not going to happen by just like sitting on your bed thinking about it. You got to show up as well. You got to do the work too. And I think that's what you're trying to say. It's not just about hippie, like, ooh, I just like fold my hands together and get all happy,
Yeah. Yeah. You raise your vibration and then you work. You keep the vision, and then you take little steps toward it, and anything is possible, man.
Yeah. And what were you saying about, are you done with that topic? Because I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah. I just want to.
What were you saying about the Olympics? Like something funny happened.
Oh, yeah, dude. The fucking, so, and I kind of think I might have some insight into this, but because I did like karate for a long time when I was younger. My mom did karate for like 25 years. She did like competitions, and she'd come home. She trained for 25 years. She got her fucking black belt. She'd come home with broken noses. When I was in high school, dude, my friends were all scared of her because she would throw head kicks at them. Like they would be like, they would like put their fighting stance up, and she would throw these fucking dope head kicks that would come like an inch from their face, And she was a badass, all ripped and shit. But anyhow,
my wife's grandma was like a 3rd-degree black belt or some shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In karate. Yeah.
I think someone tried to mug her one time. She beat the shit out of him.
I mean, that in the 80s and fucking 90s,
yeah,
karate
it was huge back then,
bro. Yeah. I mean, still karate. I mean, you look at like Lyoto Machida and fucking George St. Pierre, and those are karate dudes.
Wonder Boy.
Yeah, Wonder Boy, karate dude, So, but yeah, in the Olympics, I guess, some dude got fucked. They were having like I think it was a gold medal fight, and this dude from Saudi Arabia knocked out his opponent with a head kick, and he got disqualified for hitting too hard.
Can you imagine like, hey, dude, you're rolling too hard in jiu-jitsu. You can't do that. It's like, what the fuck?
What are we doing here? If you watch, I'm gonna pull up the video, man, because if you watch, it's weird when they spar. They're like acting all tough and shit, throwing these punches, like throwing it 1 inch from each other's face. But but then they're like, yeah, fucking got him. Like it's a weird sport, but I think they score points by like getting an inch away from the fucking actual strike.
Yeah. Like, is that where you get those dojo videos? Those are the worst,
This
man.
is real shit here.
That one I sent you, that he's like, yeah, and he knocks the gun out of the guy's and the guy's like watching the video, he's like, oh, I think that's gonna work. And he walks outside and someone fake pulls a gun on him. He's like, oh yeah, and he just ends up in heaven. He's like, what? It didn't work.
Oh, yeah. That
So
shit was
funny.
hilarious.
Oh, I was laughing so hard.
There was one last night on fucking McDojo Life where the guy was like, you got to check this shit out. They were in like some garage dojo, and he had like 3 guys grabbing him. This is a real video. And he's like moving real slow. And he's like, you see, I don't want to use power. I want to use compassion. And he's like slowly moves and they all just go flying and shit.
I just want to know what the guys that are like
What's that?
excited about that guy getting kicked too hard.
That's crazy, huh? What a weird sport. Did you see how they were like going full speed but not hitting each other, but acting like they were like doing something really major? Shit.
How do you even learn something efficiently if you can't actually perform the move correctly?
It's, what's weird, when they teach you the karate in the karate class, everything is precision, so they teach you in the class to kick right by the face or to punch full power but not hit in the face. And then you take that into competition, and that's how you score points.
No,
you
that's
as hard as you can, but barely hit. So you never,
yeah, dude. You the way you train is the way you perform. I know that from being a cop. Like, if you're not training correctly, it's gonna cost you your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when stuff happens, it's really scary. Like, if you're pulling your gun or something like that, dude, that's muscle memory. When shit popped off, I remember like, how the fuck did I get here? What? I just did what I was trained to do, I think.
Yeah. And the training, the repetitive training in real situations creates confidence, man. Because I remember, just like you said, I remember having that gun, bro. That was like my bitch, man. Like that gun, that Beretta that we had, dude. I'll challenge anybody to a fast draw on that motherfucker, man. Like in the academy, I had the fastest draw on that motherfucker, and I'm not bragging, but when you have that gun there, yeah, I'm bragging, but when you got that shit on your side and you've trained it so much, you've shot it so many goddamn times over and over and over, draw, shoot, you walk around like, no one's fucking with me. I will hit you between the eyes before you can blink, motherfucker. And that's the same with any type of training. You got to do it over and over in real situations, man. The same with jiu-jitsu. That's why it's important to drill, man, because if you're just going in there and rolling and learning the move of the night, your progress will be a little slower than if you just like take some time to really drill some shit that you want to get good at, because then the muscle memory kicks in, and that's when you become like a badass.
Yep. Same thing with the competition. Like, you're not thinking and doing this and doing that. Like, you're living out your training. And that's how, if you're prepared, you're prepared. You've already done the work. You should just go perform,
Yeah.
So I think that does it, man. Is that about an hour?
Yeah, I think so, man. A little over an hour.
On a funny note, people kicking too karate.
Yeah, that was good.
You get disqualified for that shit. I'm going to disqualify Coach today for that role. I'm like, you're disqualified. You did way too good. That on belly sucked. Nope. Yeah, that's it. You're disqualified.
And you should disqualify him like the ref did in that fucking thing. Point at him and yell, and then cross your. No. Yeah.
He did it all aggressive. Like, what is this, Mortal Kombat? Like, you need to cut my head off? It was an accident. I didn't mean to kick him in the face. He leaned in. I don't know. What do you want from me?
That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up.
You did way too good. You shouldn't have kicked so hard.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have moved his face into my foot. What do you want from me?
I was trying to stay an inch away. He fucking moved.
He moved an inch towards me. That's what he gets. If you move in an inch, you're dead.
Yep.
Yeah, your life is an inch away from being over in karate.
Oh, it looks like this is off topic, but we can get going here. But it looks like Poirier tweeted he put out a tweet that said, it just says Nathan with a question mark. You see that? That'd be a good fight, man. I'd like to see that fight.
Yeah. And I just wanted to shout out Nate. He's a
Yes.
newer white belt.
Oh.
Nate, not Nate Diaz. Shout out to him too if he's listening to this. Fucking well on. But Nate, he told me today that he's listening to the podcast, so appreciate that. That means a lot. I was happy to hear that, and more people listening, the better.
Thank you, Nate.
Anything we could do to get people in jiu-jitsu, keep them in jiu-jitsu, and help them grow through jiu-jitsu, makes the world a better place, makes us better men. Just it's how we're expressing ourselves, how we're learning and growing and sharing the benefits that we're getting from jiu-jitsu. So one more listener is always a blessing. So share this if you're listening and someone, maybe a white belt or someone else that's in jiu-jitsu or not in jiu-jitsu, like share this with them. Let's go. Like, let's get ears on this. The more people in jiu-jitsu, the better.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly the message, man. Get everybody doing this shit.
And Irving too. We gotta get Irving on. He loves conspiracies and shit. He reached out to me.
Oh yeah. He sent me a message too about it. That'd be good to have him on here. Let him just bullshit about some of the shit going on in the world, man.
Yeah, he was telling me he's listening to it at work. So, like, that's cool, man. Like, man, if we can provide entertainment, we could provide, like, to me, it's always like, hey, see you on the mats, man. This is like chatting after we got our rules done. We're sitting there chatting about life. That's some of my best parts of my day is just chatting with guys, whether it's the white belts talking about jiu-jitsu, like, oh man, like you got me in mount 5 times. It's like, dude, you're learning, you're doing great, encouraging someone, or it's you talking to the upper belts and they're telling you philosophy or they're telling you something about their life. It's like, damn, this is fucking cool. You meet the best people. I'm never as happy as fucking sitting in on those mats, whether you're covered in sweat and you're exhausted from getting your ass whooped. You just have a clear mind and you have good chats, man. I just love that part of it. I love that. And that's what I want this podcast to represent is just that chat, that true, deep, humble chat after a good workout and you're pushing yourself to the brink.
Yeah, man, that's I feel you. I enjoy that too.
And not the last person or what do you say, like not least, what is it when you say the last thing?
When you
saying
fuck what, when you say the last thing?
Yeah, it's like when you say even though it's last, it's not like
last but not least.
Last but not least. That's what it is.
Fuck,
last
bro,
but not least.
That's one of the most basic fucking sayings right there, bro. What's that thing when you say something last, it has least in it?
Last but not least. It's silly. It's like, okay. But last but not least is you, man. Like all the work you've been doing. We're going to be releasing content for the Instagram page.
Oh yeah, man.
So excited. I haven't got to see anything. You've been doing it. You've been holding out on me, you son of a bitch. And I'm ready to see it with everyone else. So let's get that going too. We got,
man.
Dude, he's been putting in hours upon hours to release some content for you guys and super excited about that shit. Share that shit. Follow us on Spotify or iTunes and leave us a rating and review. Click the fucking rating. The thing is like a star thing. I click it every time I look at a podcast. 5 stars, 5 stars.
Yeah.
If that's what you feel, man, click the shit out of that. Let's go. Your friends saw it pop up on iTunes too as like, recommended. Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. We're getting this thing growing and we just want to take, everyone on the journey with us. We're soul rollers. We're in this together. I'm starting to do a newsletter. We're expanding it. We're coming up with a lot of good shit. So
yeah, we got a lot planned. We got an ebook planned. We'll talk about that later. When we start posting content, especially like the reels, the video clips, if you're listening to this, you can really help us out by like, if you feel one of the messages, whatever it may be, share it on your story. That's the, that's what the Instagram algorithm likes, is shares nowadays. So if you can share something on your story, man, that really helps us get this message out. If you get any value from it, that would be a good way to help us out, So we appreciate it greatly. Of course, we shout everybody out.
And if you're training and you're like Jackson, you're like Steven Spielberg, and you're taking pictures of your training, or you're like taking a picture of your academy or your roles or whatever, tag us in that Soul Rollers _JJ so we can get that. I just want that to be, you look at like all the stuff that's being shared on Instagram. Let's get some positive jujitsu type stuff being shared a lot. That's cool, man. I want to see all the different schools. I want to see all the different training. We don't want to see, the next Netflix show that you're watching. We want to see you, getting your ass whooped in jiu-jitsu, becoming a better person.
Yep. That's what it's about. That's
all I got.
All right. Sounds good. Well, hit us up at Soul Rollers _JJ. If you have any questions, if there's anything, that we can talk about on the show that might help you out, let us know. We'll answer the question. We've answered multiple questions on the show prior. If you have any questions, hit us up. Actually,
before we go, I had one person reach out on Instagram talking about, they were struggling with, being able to just show up and just, get to jiu-jitsu and the challenge of that. I've been there. I had you back me up through most of that. I don't know if you remember, like, man, I just suck. I don't know if I should go this, that, and the other, and you always encourage me. So I just wanted to shout that person out. I don't know if they want me to put their name out there, but I shared the same thing with them. We all feel that, the resistance is normal. It's a part of life. You're growing to a new version of you. So you're going to feel that. So keep going, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for listening. Keep it up, man. Heck yeah. Like we all feel that resistance, that struggle of going, that fear, whatever it might be, uncertainty, whatever it might come up for you as, but keep going. You're in the right spot. And the fact that you're feeling that means you're growing and you're making progress. Keep going. It's not a bad sign. That's a good thing. So
right on. Yeah. Thanks for reaching out, whoever that was. And
last but not least, I had to mention that.
Got it. Last. Oh, it said last. You say it when you're last, but it has something.
Well, I didn't want to like. I was trying to like, think about your feelings. I didn't want to like. Well, what the fuck? Why'd you mention me last, asshole? And be like, oh, sorry. So you're supposed to say that saying to make it better or something.
Yeah. That's I know. No. I'm just saying
why. But I think it's stupid, but I couldn't remember. I'm like, I don't use that. So what is this saying? Last but not least. It's like,
last but not least.
I kind of feel like that's passive aggressive saying I suck or something,
No, it's just that was hilarious. But
I couldn't think of it.
Yeah. So
I blame my coach for smashing me all
smashing your inside.
So matched up. I can't think.
Yeah.
But on to the next one, man. I'm grateful for you, man. Keep up the hard work on the content. I'm excited to see it. Let's go.
Yeah, lots of good shit coming, man. We're gonna work on that ebook and everything else. So stay tuned and share our shit, and we'd appreciate that greatly. That'd be awesome.
If created from fear, like we're afraid to express ourselves and do all these things that we're trying to pursue. We're just living examples of, hey, we're struggling with it too, but we're continuing to, and that's what builds momentum, and that's what changes your life. And we can do that together. And that's why we're creating this podcast, to do this together. Yes, sir. Yep. Soul Rollers. So, all right, man. We'll talk again next week, and it's good talking to you. And yeah, man, we'll link up later on that other stuff. So all the projects. So, all right, man, take care. Talk to you later, and have a good training tonight, as will I, and everyone else listening. Get out and train. Don't be a lazy motherfucker. Get off your couch and go train tonight. All right. We'll talk to you later, man. See ya. Yep. Later.